En de eerste boodschap van een spreker die er niet bij aanwezig kon zijn, maar wel een medestander is van Dr. Pascal Lottas. Hij is een academicus, auteur, activist en journalist, bekend van het kanaal Neutrality Studies, waar hij over de geopolitiek analyseert. En hij heeft een aantal boeken geschreven over de rol van neutraliteit in internationale betrekkingen. En die heeft de volgende boodschap voor ons.
Hello to everybody at today's anti-NATO and anti-war rally in The Hague. I greet you. My name is Pascal Lotta. I'm an associate professor at Kyoto University, where I study neutrality in international relations and where I try to understand why we constantly have mass violence in international relations. And one of the reasons is because of institutions like NATO that make war and violence inevitable by constantly beating the drums of war. We need to stop this. The drums of war need to fall silent. NATO needs to stop warmongering, and NATO is trying to sell to us the idea that it is a purely defensive pact, when in fact it is not only militarizing our societies, it is also going out and attacking others. It attacked Serbia in 1999. It made the end of Yugoslavia all but inevitable. There was an attack against Afghanistan. It attacked. It was involved in the attack on Libya and in the fall of the Libyan state and the transformation of the Libyan state into utter chaos. NATO time and again has proven that it is an offensive alliance. It has managed to create so much instability that we have a proxy war on European soil instead of creating common security with the Russians in order to have a common and stable European home for everybody. What we have is utter Cold War logic of one alliance against the others, and NATO has been working overtime to make sure that the war in Ukraine doesn't end, because this war is good for NATO, because it's money for NATO, and it is a reason to exist for NATO. Yes, the Russians can and should also be criticized for what happened, but making this spiral of escalation inevitable, this is the great sin of NATO. And what we need to demand is not just that NATO stop the warmongering, but we need to demand that NATO keeps to its own constitution. You need to know, while the NATO member states often yell at you, Article 5, common security, collective security, the one we need to demand as peace activists is that NATO keeps to Article 1, the first one in its charter. Let me read it to you, because it is actually, in fact, a fantastic article. It reads, "The parties undertake, as set forth in the Charter of the United Nations, to settle any international dispute in which they may be involved by peaceful means, in such a manner that the international peace and security and justice are not endangered, and to refrain in their international relations from the threat or use of force in any manner inconsistent with the purposes of the United Nations." This is a peace article. NATO has a peace article in its founding document, in its charter, and we need to demand, especially if you are from the Netherlands or you're a citizen from a NATO country, then you need to demand that your country actually implements Article 1 of the NATO treaty. So if these warmongers are coming to you and they tell you that, the United States did the dirty work for us in Iran, then you need to tell them, no, we demand that you, United States, you keep to Article 1 of our common charter. We want a peaceful relationship with everybody in the world, not just among NATO members, but with everybody in the world, as the United Nations Charter declares. The NATO was never meant to be a replacement of the United Nations. It was always meant to be subordinated. And time and again, in the past decades, NATO has just ignored its own Article 1. It has ignored its own constitutional founding, that it wants to be part of the peaceful group of the world. So we have to demand that, and also remind them of Article 6, which says that NATO will only be active on its own territory. Even according to its charter, NATO should not go outside of its border. any kind of working in Libya or in the Middle East or in Afghanistan is highly illegal according to their own charter. So I encourage you all, protest and tell NATO that it has to keep to its own rules. Otherwise, it is just an illegal organization, a warmonger organization, and I congratulate you all for being there today and protesting against this. Thank you very much.